All right. We're just going to do some quick announcements, and then we'll go ahead and get Jim and Evan up here because no one wants to hear me talk. So, just kidding. No, I'm joking. I like to pick on myself, right? You can't pick on yourself. That's how I see it. All right. So, we do have a lot of sponsors here at the club, and I'm looking around. I think I only see Yesenia. Yesenia, you want to peek out? She's in the. She went to the trash, I think. Oh, she did. Okay, she actually is great. She's our escrow sponsor, and so if you ever need escrow, and she's also a volunteer. There she is. All right. And then we have other sponsors. We have Steve Lazarson at Peak Finance, and then he does all different types of loans. And Lee, the security broker, he also does solar. And Evan, do you want to just real quick, do you like a 30-second spiel?
30 minutes? Yeah, please.
I almost said minutes.
Yeah. I'm a fix-and-flip guy, buy and hold guy. We also do wholesale deals. We like to JV with people. Sometimes we'll lend small amounts of money. But if you have a deal you're looking at, or you have something like someone passed away, or has a title issue, or just you have something, or you think you have something, give me a call and we'll talk about it to see if it's something we can direct to the right source. We'll either partner with you or tell you who you can partner with.
Yeah, and if you want more info on the sponsors, you can just scan that QR code. Rich Rice, he's on vacation right now with his girlfriend and soon to be.
Baby moon.
Their baby moon. I just realized, did you guys know, has anyone heard of a baby moon before? Like honeymoon, but a baby moon? I guess, I don't want to say it's a new thing, but I guess it's a fairly new thing. Like, proms, now they have promposals and all kinds of stuff now instead of you know what I'm talking about because you have kids at that age range. So, so it definitely, anyway, but Rich has a podcast. Who's been on his podcast? A lot of us have, but and honestly, it's not scary at all, but it's really cool to just be able to reflect back at, I did a podcast in my first year, and it's fun to look back at that and just wow, I've come a long way. Still a way to go though. A lot of room to grow there. And then we do have a cruise coming up next year in September. I told you guys last week that I finally booked my my balcony room. I'm going to Alaska, you might as well get a balcony. I just want to look at a whole bunch of ice, going by in the ocean. I've never done it before. I was like, hey, when in Alaska, right? All right, so if you are interested in that, just go to firevoyager.com, and it's only a $500 deposit, and that's for 2 people. So
you realize that decision will cost you thousands and thousands of dollars going forward?
No, I agree.
You will never get
go back.
a cruise cabin that doesn't have a balcony.
Yep, that happened to us.
Unless you got one on the inside.
Yeah, we went on the balcony.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'm glad I did that then. It was worth the upgrade. All right, so it is $500. It's $250 per person. If you are a single and you're like, well, I don't have someone to go with, we could always try and pair you. Just see me and I'll add you to that list. Last year we did that with a couple of ladies, and they're really good friends now, and just building those relationships. So if you're interested in that, just let me know and I'll add you. And then Pete Fortunato is it's right around the corner. What is that? 4 weeks away now?
Isn't that sold out already?
No, I'm surprised. The thing is with investors, this, they wait till the last minute to buy their ticket. So don't wait until the last minute because it will sell out, and you're gonna be super bummed because you're gonna hear about all of us. I'm pretty sure there's people that weren't able to go to John Schaub and they were super bummed. So definitely buy your ticket now. I think we're over half sold, so that means for sure it's gonna sell out. So for sure, it's Pete. So, and we only have 75 seats in here. So that's capacity, that's it. And that's my last announcement, but I did want to, something that Rich has been doing, and I know some people get brought up here, but anyone make an offer that wants to come up and talk about it? No? No one made an offer this week.
That's not offers.
You made offers? Yeah, I know. Like, oh, here. Okay, well, I made an offer. So I went and looked at a mobile home in Ontario. The lady was asking like $60,000, but it would only sell for like $65,000. So I mean, she knows it needs work and everything. So I gave her two options. I did either $15,000 cash, or I did $25,000 with $5,000 down, and then payments on the $20,000, $200 a month till paid. So right now she said no. So I mean, I just found out, which is fine, and then maybe there's some massaging it out right there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that was, I was going to say the additional $20,000 when sold, and I was like, wait, why would I want to pay $20,000 when I sell it if I could get it for 0% interest over time? So that's the offer I made. It was not accepted, but the original, I guess her original thing was she just wants out of it. She just want to be done with it. She doesn't need the money, she says. She's just, I'm tired of paying lot rent, and because there was a situation with her daughter's relationship and it didn't work out, so no one's living there now. And I just figured, I'll take it off your hands, make it easy, and I don't know. She'll come back. I know she will.
Wasn't accepted yet.
I said yet. Yeah. She. I know the other offers she got, and my offers were better. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
You had an offer accepted this week.
I did make an offer to Andy on a mobile home in Thousand Palms. It has its own space, and he accepted. So, which I was going to ask you if you're available, if I could go see it next Tuesday. Okay. All right, there you go. Offer accepted. All right. Oh, yes, Randy.
How'd you come across that property, the mobile home?
That one, so a lot of people know I buy mobile homes, so I got a message from a club member. They're actually not a club member currently because they're focusing on wholesaling, and they're like cranking them out. So he just contacted me and said, hey, are you still doing mobile homes? I'm like, yes, of course. So mobile home queen right here. So all right, well, without further ado, I'm gonna bring up Evan and Jim, so give them a round of applause, and then I will get the PowerPoint brought up. No, I was teasing. I can adjust it on it. All right, and then if you could try to stay between the two black lines.
We have to stay between the two black lines.
Well, we got it focused in tight today, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's just do the whole thing like this.
Yeah, we'll do this.
Like, you could be on that one, and you could be on that one. There you go. Just don't go further out.
We'll stand like this the whole time.
So many rules, man. So many rules. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I haven't been here in a long time. I'm very excited to be here tonight. Very excited.
Yeah, me too. It's always a joy to be in here and hear about some of the deals that you guys are doing, or some of the offers you're making, or some of the phone calls you guys get. Matter of fact, while we're here, I was talking to Miguel, and we just scheduled another phone call to a seller on Friday to discuss more about this offer we made last week. I think we spoke about it. Anyway, we also made another offer last week. And I wanted to share one thing too. Anyone have you gone to a property and made an offer, and you found that one of your friends has been there and already made an offer? Someone you know?
Yes.
Does that happen to
Yes.
anyone?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Big out.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but years ago, I had a wholesale deal. Someone wholesaled me a deal up in the desert in Oro Grande, and I went over there. It was an out-of-state wholesaler, and they had this deal. It was like $59,000 for 2 houses on a lot. And I ran over there like 8 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. And as I looked at the house, I called her and said, okay, I want the house. And up walked a friend of mine that I had done a couple deals with a few years before, because he was looking at the house. And he did me a favor. He goes, Evan, hey, it's been a while. What's going on? Oh, you want this house? I said, yeah, I just called, I really want it. He goes, then I'll stand down. And today we own 14 doors in that neighborhood because of that. So that guy, Manuel, wherever you are, tell you thank you.
Were you ever able to reciprocate to him?
I sent him deals, and he bought houses from us over the years. But I probably owe him lunch for that. I know we got together a few times. I think I picked up the check a few times because I was grateful. The reason why I bring that up is a year ago, we got a driving for dollars lead. And yeah, I'm gonna tell this, Janine. We were driving for dollars lead, and they wanted to, hey, we want to sell this house. It's my mom and a couple aunts and all this stuff. And then I started talking to them, and they ended up said, like within 2 days, they're like, yeah, you know, it's too much. We can't do it right now. We'll call you later. Well, they called like a week and a half ago, and said, hey, we're ready to sell. You're so interested? Sure. So we went over there, made an offer on the house. I had to actually mail the offer because this guy had been in an accident or had a hip surgery or whatever. He couldn't move. His other aunt can't move. The one aunt that lives there is mobile. She gets around. And I go and walk the house. And then I mailed the offer. And then she said, well, the other half owner's talking to somebody. And then I get a call later and they go, do you know a Janine Brown? And I'm like, no, I don't know a Janine Brown. And
I know Janine Brown.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know a Janine Brown. I know Janine's, but I don't know a Janine Brown. And then they said, then Janine Brown messages me and goes, like 2 hours later, Evan, is this you? Because there's she has my offer in her hand, because she's talking to him too. So I told her after that, I will call them and stand corrected. And I said, I will stand down and say, you're in great hands, because you got multiple family members. They want to get the most amount of money. It's a very difficult situation. They don't know who to go with. And I edified her and said how wonderful she is, and I stood down. And so today he called, because I was trying to tell him that, and he wasn't answering. He called and told me what was going on, and I said, yes, I do know her. And then I stood down. He goes, what, you don't want my house anymore? It's like, well, I do, but you're in great hands. So, and if something goes wrong or whatever else, I'm here, but you're more in capable hands. So let me know if there's a problem, but I will see Janine tonight, and I'll let her know we spoke, but I think you should go that route, and maybe I'll buy it through her. So very appreciative. Sometimes you just want to push it away, and then they'll like, you don't want to buy my house? So I wanted to share that, because it literally happened, and had the phone call a few hours ago. While I was with Patrick, actually, at one of our projects. He's in the room. Anyway, just had to add that.
Well, I think it's nice, because what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about how to evaluate properties and why specifically we would stand down from a transaction, or why we would do a transaction. And this type of thing, like I would call it like what kind of a threshold, what kind of an investment, or what kind of a risk threshold that you want to do, or you want to be involved in. Lately, I personally have been kind of taking a little more risks than I usually do. It's sort of all or nothing. And like today, I was at the trustee sale in beautiful Pomona. If any of you have been to the courthouse there, there were 6 houses that sold. 2 of them were very expensive second mortgages with huge first mortgages in front of them. My deal was the very last deal that went at 11 o'clock. And of course, all the big guys wanted it, and I didn't have a chance. So I knew going into it, the house was worth about $638,000 fixed up. I hadn't seen the property aside from Google Earth and such. So I estimated like $25,000. It's a 1,000 square foot house, 2-bedroom, 1. It's in Compton, and it's sort of like in the nice section of Compton, which is like the. I told you, a little more risk, okay? No, it's like west of Paramount, north of North Long Beach, in that little section of the 105 and the 710. It is the nice part of Compton. But I didn't want to spend more than $300, and I think I thought I was spending $340, but I only bought $328 to the sale. So you got to go get the money beforehand, and it's a big pain in the tuchus. But the reality is I knew that was the risk I wanted to take, and I went, and I've got a partner that I buy with, so he brought his money, I brought my money, and we had the whole deal worked out, mapped out. The only problem is some hedge fund wanted to pay $454 for the place. So we got blown out of the water. But I'm giving you all of this information because tomorrow I'll do it again. There'll be another house that we'll do this on, and I might do this for another 2 months, and maybe twice a week, maybe once a week, maybe 4 times a week, and then boom, I'll get one, and it'll be my deal. And instead of the hedge fund paying the trustee the extra $120,000, that $120,000 will be in my pocket. So that's why I do it. I figured it out. It's how I can pay big returns to my number one investor. It's how I can pocket a lot of dough, and it's just the way my business is set up today. Now, am I telling all of you folks that you guys should only look at deals like that? No, that's not what I'm saying. There's been a time in my life when I had like a number in my head where if I could make like 12 grand, I was a happy camper. Okay, now I had 30 going at one time when I was making $12,000. So I could make a good living, operating like that. But all of you should spend more time thinking about that, about the money that you're investing. Why are you investing that money? What kind of return are you going to get? Can you convert this purchase into a long-term buy and hold? Is it the kind of money you can convert?
Is it just worth your time, even if there is a profit? Is it worth your time for considering the effort of where it's at?
Yeah.
Those things.
A lot of the stuff in LA, if it's in city of, I don't even look at it because you can't evict these people. Okay, so
I'll wholesale there,
yeah.
provided it's empty. If it's not empty, I still may wholesale there, but I'm going to let the person know. For the same thing. Is there certain things you'll do in your wheelhouse or in your area where your buy box? You might do, okay, I'll fix and flip over here or anywhere. I'll wholesale almost anywhere, but I only want to buy and hold in this area. Those are some of the considerations.
Yeah, and so.
Let me ask one thing. So, did Jim make a mistake not paying an extra $100-something thousand for a house?
No.
Right. Yeah. So, has anyone ever got outbid on a project, and then you think, am I missing something? Am I doing something wrong? What am I not seeing? Sometimes you're just not willing to take a loss. All right, that's all it is. Because remember this: these hedge funds and people that have $1 billion and they're buying a house for $400,000 that she'd only paid $250 for, and they're going to keep it for 20 years. They're going to win anyway. They have money; they have to deploy it. So you're not losing anything on that. So don't make their mistake.
And I hadn't really thought of it until you started talking like that because I got a guy who he's got like $1 million. He's a home seller, and I've known him for years, and I've got another company that I operate with him. But him and I are way more like-minded than the other guy, so it's just going to be him and I from now on. And I met him at 6 o'clock this morning. I bought him breakfast. We talked. We were only together about an hour, but then I made arrangements to come back to his house and pick up the checks. I mean, there was a lot of work that goes into this, and I had a whole packet of information that I shared with him. And this is just my own due diligence that I do. And don't get me wrong, it's a button I press. It's not a big deal, okay? But I still put a lot of me personally into this whole thing, and. So I'm there with my other partner. He's like the guy who operates the company. And I said, "Oh man," because everyone was waiting, and I know the players. I know the big guys that are going to be buying. And I realized, oh man, we don't have a chance. And then I hear one of the guys check in with $620,000, and I only have $330. So I mean, I know I'm not going to get the place, but we still bid. We bid. So now we're done. We're walking back to the car, and I'm embarrassed. Because I feel like I want to win everything, okay? I want to win everything, and that's like...
You can't buy everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy everything.
I keep learning that.
I know you can't. I'm trying to be honest with you guys. I'm trying to tell you that this business is effing hard, okay? Because you've got to be able to check yourself inside of you. And so I'm telling... it's my son-in-law who operates all this, and he's very much a novice, okay? So I'm at every turn going, oh, look, this is happening. Oh, look, this is happening. I'm like standing behind him talking in his ear like this. And then we don't get the place. And I'm like, oh, that sucks, but we really never had a chance, okay, to get it. And it's like, if we wouldn't have shown up, if we wouldn't have done all this work, we definitely wouldn't have had a chance. But I'm just trying to let you.
You miss 100% of the shots.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. All right. Yes, Andy.
Who in the room got knocked over by a deal they didn't do?
Not one of us. But so I'm saying though. So on the other side of that is I poured everything I could into it. I did everything I could. I feel like I expertly managed our capital. I feel like I expertly managed my investor. I knew exactly what I was doing, so on and so forth. I wasn't the winner that day. And so afterwards we went and had a taco, and I was sitting there with them. And now this is my son-in-law, so maybe I'm a little more honest with him. And I told him, I said, yeah, it's just this business is hard because you pour so much into it and you get told no a lot. And I'm here to tell all of you guys that I know that we're gonna win. We're gonna win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, and maybe just in the year, but we're gonna make $200,000 or $300,000 on all 5 on each one of those deals. We're gonna make our money and a lot more money than we needed to make that this year. We're gonna be able to roll it into next year. We've got a big plans for this. But if you're not used to doing deals like this, if you're not used to having the next one that comes up, I'm trying to help you. I realize this doesn't have a lot to do with evaluating property, but it really does. It really does.
Not getting them also. Yeah.
Because it's really easy to just say F it. It's really easy to just say, oh man, I can't do this, or oh man, this is hard. Or when I tell people I spent a lot of time at the auction, people go, oh, we can't win anything there.
Well, let me kind of take over on that. Is when you're prepared and you're ready to go to purchase and the numbers just don't work, that's fine. It's an auction situation. Keep this in mind, because I know someone very close to me is going through this right now, where someone's calling them about a property and they're running all these numbers about if they moved in and they did this, and then they go ahead and if this would work and if this would work, and they never even made the offer yet. Well, now they did. But they hadn't even made the offer yet, and they kept agonizing over a few days, spending time on something that I would have make an offer, get it accepted, then do all that. But they're spending all the time on something that another offer may come in. So you as investors, yes, evaluate numbers, but to a point, you want to be able to learn to evaluate quickly and move on. Evaluate quickly, move on. And if you get it, and then hey, this could work, make the offer. Once you get it locked up, then go look at it and get into it. If not, you're just going to be running around, et cetera. But I will say, I just wanted to add that part to it. But let's kind of get in this real quick. We're going to burn through a lot of slides.
We got a question in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, we just spent like a minute talking about the hedge funds. Are you seeing a lot of them at these?
Look, listen, guys. I will never be able to compete with them, and so I'm going to just say this. Like, this is actually how I feel. F them. Like, I don't care about them.
Are you seeing a lot of purchasing by them?
No, that's who's buying. Okay. That is who's buying. This is my money that's in my pocket. I don't see there's few people that are showing up there making their decisions. Almost every one of them have a chair with a printout, with a piece in their ear, and they've got their hand over their phone, and they're literally saying, okay, the guy in the black hat, he looks pretty serious, and they're literally strategizing. Or listen to this one, the auctioneer said, is anyone here for 321 Sorta Street? And everyone went, no. And then one of the girls, who I see her there all the time, works for a hedge fund. I don't know which one, but she always wins. Okay, it doesn't matter what the price is, she wins. Okay, she says, hold on a minute, and the auctioneer somehow forgot to put that for auction. I mean, I'm joking right now, meaning the auctioneer held it without going up on the block because there was no one else there to buy it. And I guarantee you, somebody on the phone in an office somewhere was making a decision because there was no one there to qualify for it. So whatever the bid was, you could buy it for 1 penny more. Now, I looked at it while we were waiting, and it was a second mortgage at $800,000, and there was $1 million first in front of it. It wasn't a deal, but the point is that those people have way deeper pockets, they have way more people, they have people that know how to make decisions behind them, so I can't compete with them, so I don't.
Yeah, and on a mass scale, you never will. I was just reading a particular hedge fund, I forget the name, that owns 80,000 houses in the States. And so we want to talk about really the housing crunch and rentals and versus how housing being built. Quite a few homes are being built by these large companies that are going to be only rental neighborhoods. So that's a big issue. So I've met many inspectors that were inspecting houses, buying them some years ago, going, this particular group that I work for just bought 2,000 houses in San Bernardino and Riverside County, et cetera, over a period of time. Yeah, so you just be mindful of what's going on and keep an ear out on that, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I focus on what they don't want. So for instance, I know they don't bid on HOAs. So I've learned a lot about bidding on HOA debt. Okay, and we just did that last week. I was on vacation. I hired someone to go to the auction and bid for me. The people had cured the $13,700 lien that was behind, or it was behind a $600,000 first on a property that was worth $1.3 million. So we were gonna pay $13,000 or up to $75,000 was the number I had in my head to buy the HOA lien and then take over the first mortgage, okay? And then we would have swallowed maybe $500,000 on a deal like that. So they're very lucrative, but.
And let me just tell you,
anyway.
I tend to stay away from the auctions. I bought at the tax auction before, and one of my partners, one of my companies, used to go to every auction with $1 million to $2 million in his pocket. And he was doing that for years. He was just on salary. That's what he did. Matter of fact, when they transferred him to another division, the person that came in, the replacement that bought with the next 6 months, she lost them $2 million because she was overpaying at the auctions. And I've never forgotten that. So just one at a time, know your wheelhouse. Something you want to get into. Someone called me the other day about something, and it was about auctions, and I was like, talk to Jim. I'm not the guy.
This is a 20-year career for me. This is over 1,000 escrows, open, closed. This is me owning about 200 homes over the years. I'm a deep well of complete mess ups, like losing over $100,000 multiple times. Okay, so I'm just, but I mean, I got big success stories too. But I'm just telling you right now, this is. We're not trying to sell this part to you. What we're saying is putting the thought into where your cash is going to be allocated, where your time is going to be allocated, how much trouble it's going to be. Yeah, there's sections of Compton I wouldn't touch, but this particular little pocket, I've done business in this area before.
Right.
It was something I really wanted.
Let me interrupt that part, because whether it's in there or not, if your auctions are something you want to start getting into, talk to Jim. There's some other resources, and we're going to move on that. I got to keep it going.
Good.
Yes, Mike.
What about online auctions?
I don't do them. I don't know anything about them.
A lot of times, that's a call I just got. A lot of times, they're not real auctions in the sense that you're thinking of. An agent can put up an auction. So you think it's like a foreclosure auction, tax auction, and they're just auctioning the house. Okay, I've seen auctions who's seen auctions on Facebook? And you're like, what? Anyway. Okay, first of all, we are going to do this. I'm just going to go through fast. It's really how we look at the properties, what we're going to do, why do we keep one as long-term rental, fix and flip, wholesale deal, or walk away completely from the deal. It's like this is a particular one, why I kept this as a long-term rental. That was actually the house I walked in, as Manuel walked up and said, you want this? I'm out. Because I had a relationship with them and had sold them some properties and still own that today. But we wholesaled this one, all right? Look at the amount of work involved. No, that's not me. And this was in LA. So we wholesaled this one. And matter of fact, the guy that I know, one of my friends that has ADU friends, we wholesale it to him. He got into it and found some stuff with the code enforcement. And he was highly experienced. He sold it on a note to another investor because he goes, you know what? They want me to move that house 2 feet to the right. They did. Because the driveway is only 9 feet wide, and they want 10 feet wide if you want to put an ADU in the back. The other guy moved the house.
That's a really good point right now. So this house, I just purchased a house in San Fernando. The city of San Fernando requires an inspection by a home inspector that the city brings in
Before the sale.
So I purchased it on a trustee's deed. There was no technical sale. There was no escrow. But I I already know that those
Yeah.
people are coming. So
And with this,
That-
the seller, sorry, with this, the seller on this one, we found out after we were wholesaling it, and my friend was in escrow, and he closed on it, that there was no inspection, pre-sale inspection. They were pissed, the city, and they took it out on my friend. But we're like, do your due diligence, man. Yes, Farrah.
That house with the big hole in it, yeah, that one. Can you tell us what the numbers were on it?
Yeah, the guy wanted 400,000. We gave him, I think we ended up closing at 290, and we were actually going to wholesale it at 360, but we ended up wholesaling about 320, 310, 315. And here's something I want to say as well. Some of this is going to resonate for some of you. I learned a lot on this deal because my buddy that bought this, I love him dearly. Talked to him today actually about something. And he, at the end, there was a $4,000 disagreement with the seller because we fronted some, we have held some money back, and he felt that the seller didn't do this and didn't do that. That was part of it agreed upon, and he held it up. And this seller was so pissed, threatened to kill me. That he actually, and the guy was a former Vietnam vet, worked with Howard Hughes. I mean, there was a lot of, he was named as a colonel. And the local SWAT team went to the house for the weapons that were involved, and they actually, code enforcement, removed some of the contingencies because they were scared of this guy. They literally was that bad. So we helped them find a place in Apple Valley, bought 5 acres, and I was trying to get the paperwork to him to release the money, and I hired a friend of mine I dropped off to watch. I was about 200 yards away from the property going, he can't hit a moving target. Seriously. Because of someone arguing over $4,000, who's a good friend of mine, he's a millionaire. And I kept saying, you're wrong, you need to do it. I finally said, tough, we're going to do this, and you're going to give him the money. And he did. And because we dragged that on and ended that way, it's the only time that's happened, pissed me off. When that colonel died 3 months later, someone in an area that I was going into that I was like, oh, I'll see you all the time. I ride my motorcycle, like to do that. By the time I found out from someone at the property, called this person, and then the sister, I found out about it. I called the sister. She had just signed over all the rights to that new property to the VFW because she goes, well, that's kind of what he wanted. And I realized I just lost an opportunity to make maybe another 50 grand. And I called my buddy and said, your short-sightedness over 4 grand cost us another deal and nearly cost me my life. It's actually the only time I was scared, when someone really did that. So I'm just telling you, when people start nickel and diming certain deals and they start doing that, you are missing the freaking boat, and I'm shaking on it because I see it sometimes. Stop it. Just going to tell you now. Anyway, I had to add that.
well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
Don't,
we'll go
the moral of that story is don't get shot at a house.
Yeah,
It's
don't
not
do
worth
that.
it.
Don't do that. That's the only deal I regret.
Don't die on a real estate deal. It's
Don't
not
do
worth
that.
it. Okay? Don't do that.
Get your CCW.
Keep this as a long-term rental.
Yeah, this one, by the way, this is the same house as it, same property. It was a 2-unit on that deal. Still own it today. But then why we wholesale this one? And I actually wholesaled this to a buddy that we wholesaled that one to the guy with the firehouse. Same buyer. He had an ADU on this. He paid a little bit more, and we did that. This is the latest long-term rental. It's a duplex I just bought.
That is sexy, man.
I
Look
got
at
this
that.
from a phone call. I called the owner and said, hey, I have properties right there on the street. I'd love to talk to you about it. I was trying to buy this for about 4 years.
That was the video you sent me, wasn't it?
Yes. This house still we're working on. This
You
is
could
another
smell
smelling
You can
house.
smell it through my phone. You could smell it.
6 or 8 dead animals, 15 or 18 cats were in this house, and we're doing it now. Matter of fact, it's all stripped, it's all cinder block. We're sealing it, we're doing the other, and and that's just one of the rooms that they.
That's the smell of money, by the way.
That's the room, yeah. I just picked this up for like $155, just so you know, but it's crazy.
So is the other one that you wholesaled, I feel like looks better than this?
Which one?
That one. Oh no, that
Oh,
one.
oh yeah, that was just a.
It looks better.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you wholesaled it, and the one that looks worse,
Right.
you.
Right, because this one we were buying, it was a little higher than I wanted to go, and I knew the value was at an ADU, and my buddy with the ADU goes, I'll do it, and he made an extra like 50 grand on top of his. I just want to say but why latest flip, long-term rental, and then this is a current flip, we're still in the middle of that. I bought these from actually 2 different cousins of the same family. This is a flip we're doing on the same street. But why that? And then this one was a long-term rental. A second home. We actually kept it. And then we fix and flip this house. That was on Davos. And then this is a long-term rental. That was a sub-2 deal. We're still on that today. So it comes down to why did we do one? Why did we, how did we decide, and when do we decide when to keep this one, and why keep that, and why throw that one away? Okay, and so, or do we ask, Magic 8 Ball? Sometimes you got to answer.
Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah, well, sometimes it answers, right? And if you don't like the answer, you just do it again, so you get your answer, right?
That sounds like me and my wife.
So
ask the question again.
On each property, these are the things that we ask. What are we doing? What's the decision-making process? Jim, you can pipe in here on any of this. As you can see, we ask, how many total properties do we have going on? So if someone calls me, Derek says, hey, Evan, I got this deal, you want to wholesale it? You want to buy it, I got it on a contract. This is what I'm thinking. Oh, I'm in the middle of 10 deals right now. I got money out. I got this. Angela's going to kill me if I say yes to another one.
That's the real reason.
Right. How many crews do we have, for rehab? Seriously. How much money do we have available? Are we tight on funds? Are we doing really well? Is this, again, is it a possible sub-2 deal that doesn't take much cash, right? What account company? Which one has money? Do we have money here to do it? Because we have rental companies and we have flipping companies. And is it a flip, but the rental company has a lot of money and the flip companies are kind of low on funds? What do you do? So these are some of our thoughts. Economic issues, local market stuff, what's going on. Where is it at? Days of market going up. You want to add any of those?
Well, I know that all of this is all very relevant, and if you're being honest, there's probably like 6 more pages of things. Yeah, there is. There's 6 more pages of things we could go through here. But I know for me, usually I'm looking at a property and I'm making a decision like this San Fernando property. I got the deal 3 weeks ago. We got the trustee, the trustee's deed, excuse me, and we still have an occupancy situation. We got to kick the people out. We've got a lot of kind of balls in the air, but this is a hold for me for sure. I'm going to keep this property.
You promise?
This is and I would say this is sort of like a change for me. I found a particular situation or a way to buy property, and that's what I'm going to be doing probably more of, is holding in the stuff that I'll be selling. There'll be a good reason for it.
Yeah.
And I just know that in the beginning on most of these projects, and it's sort of like what I enjoy doing. I enjoy like doing a check off in my head, like every one of those black points. Each one of those have sub points, and each one of those have subheadings. And I like that's sort of what I enjoy about the business, is kind of checking off. No, this isn't going to work. Oh, maybe these 3 will. This one's definitely not going to work, and going from there. What you got, Patrick?
So, if anyone's been listening to you for a while, all we've heard is how quickly you want to sell stuff.
Yes, sir.
So I need more details on how are you keeping this? What is it? Tell me dollars.
No. I think really it's just sort of a new thing that I personally want to do. My son-in-law.
You've been shifting. Jim's been shifting focus of where he's been the last 20 years to this last year. Yeah.
And actually, it's probably been 2 years that I've been messing around with this. But what I figured out is how to own property, and I think how to do it properly. Which I'll share all of that with you once I get my entities all put together. I'm really excited about it. Okay, but what's really important tonight, and that's what the topic is, and I don't mean to shush you about this, but what I'm saying is when you see the numbers and you know exactly what you want, like what the outcome for the property is going to be, okay, and that is a really quick and easy. You were talking about a rehab you did that was paint, okay, and did you put carpet in?
Yeah, 3 rooms, and I left the padding.
Yeah. So you're all in $12,000, $18,000, $16,000 on a rehab, and that's a really nice wham bam, thank you ma'am. You get a nice payday. You got a lot of expenses that can augment the profits, and then from there maybe a buy and hold that you pick up for a really screaming deal might be a better way to go.
Let me go in, because you're
talking nonsense?
no, you're not. It's right in with what we're talking about. But one of the things about it is this comes down to, are you sitting there with no active deals, maybe a rental or two, or you've got a wholesale deal going, or you're doing three deals right now. All that matters. Is all your money tied up? Are you already pulling your hair out? There was a time when I was doing 2 deals, didn't know how you could rehab 2 deals, and later when rehabbing 10, we're like, geez, I just wish I was rehabbing 6 right now. And then, but don't forget the 4 empty units that I have sitting on, that type of thing. So all that goes into the decision on why you do this or why you do that. That's all we're getting at. And these are some of the things, like someone was asking, they were asking, like, if I said, for a year and a half, I wasn't buying rentals. We just decided we needed to strengthen what we had. But if a sub-2 deal or sell a carry landed on my desk, I'm going to grab it if it makes sense. You still want to do that. I was listening to Vina Jones on a podcast earlier saying she was selling a property for $140 seller. She was going to carry the paper. She wanted to carry the paper. And someone came to her and they kept offering her $100,000, then $120,000. She goes, no, I want to carry the paper. I don't want the cash. $140,000, I don't want the cash. $145,000, okay, now I'm whatever. She took the cash. She goes, son of a... And now I got to go find money. I got to go place it. But she was talking about it. Sometimes she goes, I'd have been stupid not to take the deal. And sometimes you got to do that. Huh?
You should have sold it to me first, and I would have sold it to him.
Well, just telling you, I was listening to it today. Anyway, pretty cool major investor out of Ohio. So anyway, these are some of the things here. For example, if it's in LA, automatic wholesale, it's over $500,000. I usually wholesale it. If the purchase price is there, it's under less than $500, we'll buy it. And then again, what is it? How much cash is going to be needed? Because like I said, we did a deal last year, sold it to a friend of ours who worked for us, and I think we put like $6,000 into it and sold it. We made like $21,000 because we gave him all this credits and stuff, and we're trying to help him because he does a lot of our work for us. We were happy, made a quick $20,000, and Angela got a commission out of it too, and sold it to a friend that needed the help to get into it, and worked out great. We got them from a mobile home. We had sold them on a note to a stick-built house, helped him write a note, so he sold his with 50% down, his mobile home that we had sold him, and then paid off our investor friend, and then he gets $500 a month for the next 10 years. And that was a really nice deal we did on. So anyway, that's some of that.
Does your lead investor or the person you get your money from most of the time, did he just get paid off, and in his IRA he has $248,000 sitting there that he's calling you saying, hey, what are we buying next? Like these are the kind of things, and I know you guys might be going, oh no,
who has money?
No one calls me, but I haven't looked at everyone's bank book here in the group, but I know that there are multiple people sitting in here right now that could write a check to one of you that has a great deal. And you should all be, that's another part of really what we're talking about, is who in your tribe has the ability to close on a transaction, and is that person, how many people in here are long-term investors? Okay, so I see, I know some of you very well, I know some of your situations very well, okay, but if you found a property that maybe was worth $600,000, and you're going to be able to pick it up for $240,000, and you don't have to completely remodel the whole house, or maybe you do, and you can do it on the cheap. Maybe a nice long-term investor or someone you want to partner with, and that would be part of your thinking. But if you don't know the investment goals of the other people in your tribe, well, you're
right.
kind of shooting blanks.
I got a call today from someone asking me if they're a member, and they said, hey, do you know who invests in like Bakersfield? And they were asking, I actually know 2 people. One, a guy that Miguel and I are trying to buy a house from right now. But then I said, actually, Mark Pantek has a partner of his that's literally knocking on doors in Bakersfield right now. Call Mark. So he did. So again, it's knowing, as Pete Fortunato calls them, your financial allies and financial friends, sorry. Keep that in mind, because that's the other question. That's why I have in there. Which private money lender am I using? They all have different needs, et cetera. And they'll call you and go, Evan, I'm sitting on a couple $100,000. I want it to get used. You get texts, hey, I've got some money right now, but I want to, I want it. What do you got? And this guy might lend on mobile homes. This guy won't lend out of Riverside County. This guy won't lend out of state. This guy won't, whatever.
And so this morning I was on the phone call with a friend that I helped kind of get started. He's in Houston, and he's doing business. Hooked him up with a wholesaler. Tried to help him get a lender. Of course, he's too smart for me. He's got his own lender that he wants to do business with. And I found out today that the lending company, this is a hard money lender, but they're really not a hard money lender because they're getting their money from another company. So really all they are is a private party with their hand out, okay, trying to make 2 points or whatever they're making on the deal. They brought the original lender brought a appraiser out, and they poo-pooed this whole entire deal. And this is another reason why you folks have got to do better at knowing who it is you're doing business with. And
real quick with that, that's by opening your mouth and saying, hey, this is what I do. Be excited. Let everyone know what you're going with. One of the things, I was listening to Vina today, as I said, on a different podcast of hers, they were talking about two. One was a fireman, one was she was a principal, and they ended up retiring in like 6 years at 43 years of age. And they realized that the people working next to them at their school had 401ks and retirement accounts, fire department. They realized they were some of their best private investors. But if they didn't open their mouth, okay, then and no one would have known. I got a call recently from a friend. Goes, hey, I got X amount of money. Her son was an investor with us for 14 years. He just asked for his money back last year because he wants to do something else. I don't know, crypto. I don't know what it was. So I paid him off. But she called, so I have some extra money, and I said, like a couple weeks ago. So I actually met with her, got the check the other day, signed everything. And she said, well, if I had some more money, I'll let you know. I said, yeah, and I told her what I'm gonna use it for, very specific. And they'll call you, and sometimes I've had someone call me, actually another investor friend of mine called me, and I go, no, I don't have a place for your X amount of money, but I know who does, and they use that money, put a second on their house, and finished a second unit on their house. And now cash flow and pay my investor friend. And now I'm going, I really could use that extra money now.
And so all of these scenarios are scenarios I recommend you write down. Well, everyone uses a computer now. On a piece of paper,
right,
or on your computer. I would write it down, and this just becomes sort of like, I played football back in the day. This is like my playbook. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I've told this story many times. I don't know how many of you have heard it. I'm a guy who dreamed of doing real estate for 20 years before I did my first real deal.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. When I say dreamed, I mean I have notebooks. I would go to the Commonwealth when John Schwab was a young man and watch him and listen to him, and I wrote down all the notes, and I've read all his books and done all of this stuff.
You were an awesome note taker.
Okay, yeah, I know I really was, and I saved the notebooks. And when I started actually doing business, it was great because I already knew how to figure out all these transactions. And I'm telling all of you, that's really what you should be doing. Even if you've done a deal or two, if you can't sit here and if I say to you, hey, I've got this $600,000 house that you can buy for $300, we need a cash and we're going to close in 12 days. If you can't just sit here and say to yourself, oh, awesome, I'm going to go to Rafa because I know Rafa's got $90,000, and then so-and-so is going to give me a second at 80%, so I need $300,000. I need $60,000 cash plus 80 to fix, so I need $140,000 plus 20 to, if you can't do that in your head, this is what you guys have got to be doing.
Just start evaluating properties.
Yes.
See them, look at the property, drive by, see it, look at it, run your numbers, make your offer. Off paper on the streets, offers out. You make offers out.
Do it on the home you live in.
First,
you know the numbers. You know what the taxes are.
Right. No, just remember that. And again, a lot of times it's sitting next to you. When we did the last Fire Focus class, Fire Fast class, one of the members, we found a mobile home deal over in Lake Elsinore, and I walked it with him. Brought in one of my guys that would gave him a quote on the rehab, and and we walked it, and then he asked about partnering with me, and I'm just slammed. I said, I can't. I'm just slammed. Well, it turned out, I go, but I know there's some other people in the class that have some money that would front everything, and they did. They partnered up. I think they wanted $95,000 for the thing. Eventually got it to $55,000, then got it down to $40,000 from a $95,000 list price on the market, and bought it, put 30 grand into it, 35, and it just closed a few days ago for 135,000. They made like 40, 50 grand together. All right, one put up all the money, one found the deal, worked out well, and they're like, where's the next one? So understand that's because he went to someone else and just said, hey, I've got this deal, you want to partner with me? So keep that in mind.
He's looking
all right?
at 2 today.
See, you're looking at 2 today. Yeah, we'll be talking to him.
Well, he just made $20,000.
Yeah,
Of course
get
he's
that,
looking
yeah.
at 2 more today.
Right. So when do we just say no to a deal? Jim, when do you say no to a deal?
Well, I mean, if I just...
What doesn't work for you, like having a walk?
Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't want... who was I talking to today about some big fire burnout? Was it you? Yeah. I don't really want to be involved in a big fire burnout where I got all this...
Anymore?
Yeah, well, I don't know about anymore. I mean, maybe I might wholesale a nice one. I think that's what you were thinking of doing.
By the way, that does not mean do not call Jim. You get one in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
You call Jim.
Or
me.
I would call myself an expert at fire burnouts. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in fire burnouts. Okay, I know how to work fire burnout.
But you would wholesale it.
But in today's market, I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of freaked out by the idea that the municipalities want you to. They want to know the name of all your subcontractors. They want to know your insurance. They want to know.
We'll talk about that at the end.
There's a lot of things there's a lot of liability in. There's a lot more liability than there was just last year in flipping.
So fire deals. A lot of times you might say no. Why would you say no to a deal?
Well, it just comes down to my resources. So I've gotten to a place where yes, I use investors, but these are strategic people that I call or that I text last night at 8 o'clock and said let's meet for coffee at 6, and by 9:30 after the bank opened, he gave me $165,000 without a contract in place, and I've worked to get these people where they're at, and if I don't have access to them, maybe I don't get involved. Maybe I just say no, thank you.
Let me ask you this: so if one of them brought you a deal, or I brought you a deal, Jim, you need to put $500,000. It's worth $1.2 million, and it's a $100,000 rehab. You do that deal.
I would probably
not a fire burnout. Just say they're going numbers.
That deal, I like that deal. I like those numbers.
Now, so I need you to put $500,000, a $100,000 rehab, and we're going to make 15 grand.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that.
So even though it's 15 grand.
Hey, even if it was 100 grand, okay, it's not enough.
So there's a certain amount of work that's not worth. Who thinks making $100,000 on a deal is good money? Okay. What if you had to buy a $10 million house to make the $100,000? No way. What if you're going to buy a $300,000 house to make $100,000?
Oh yeah.
So understand, it's not always about the return. It's about what do I got to do and what's the money back, okay? So keep that in mind. Note for me is it's got to be in my area. But when I say no, I'll pretty much wholesale anything. My son was one of my sons still drives for Uber once in a while, but he was driving for Uber some years ago in Idaho, and the guy got in the back seat that was selling a 14 unit on Catalina Island.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, you want to buy a 14 unit? No, but I would be glad to wholesale a 14 unit on Catalina Island.
$8 million building?
Yeah, it was crazy. And we tried to go down the thing, and he was the husband, but the wife is the one that really owned it, and she had her own opinion, so it didn't really go too far. Fun conversation, but again, there's certain things. It was like I can only imagine the issues and the problems. How do you get the supplies? Can only imagine the cost. Some of it needed to be rehabbed, but it needed to be updated. Point is, there are times where is there a tenant in there and it's in LA City? Okay,
Can you get insurance?
Can you get insurance now for it? There's all sorts of things on that might say no, but it could be Derek brings me a deal and it says, hey, you want to partner in this? He's maybe tapped out or something. Maybe we could do it. And I go, yeah, this could be great. We can make some money, but it's just, I'm tired. I just can't. But next month, but right now, 2 houses are going to go on the market in 2 weeks. So in a month, I'd be like absolutely all over. It comes down to personal decisions as well. Are you going out of town for a month? and you just can't do something. So it just depends. For me, those are some of my
Was
decisions.
it? I don't like those properties that were listed. So like I'm thinking of a property that I sold in Redlands, cute little house. It had foundation damage. It was listed before I bought it. The wholesaler bought it. I bought it from the wholesaler. I did a massive remodel on the property. I turned it into a beautiful, beautiful home. We had engineering that we did. I mean, we did everything properly, okay? But I still had to listen to every effing buyer and every neighbor come over and say to me, well, you know, this whole house, the whole back of it was off the foundation. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Here, look what we did. Look at our mediation. And in today's market, it's hard to get over hurdles like that. And this was probably 2016 or 17 when I did that property. In today's market, you might have to just discount that property and just to get rid of it, because people have a choice.
Yeah, there's a certain amount when a neighbor comes over and you're doing a flip, you're like, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know.
So I got
if
away.
I know, I have to disclose. I don't know, I don't want to know, just because they just want to keep adding and adding. You're like, okay, no.
So I got away from the idea, if the house is listed before on the MLS, there is no mystery. You understand? Like, I trade in mystery. Like, what was this? Was this a mausoleum where they dressed dead bodies, or was this a whatever? You understand what I'm saying? It's like,
with that, you just said that, reminding me of something. With this is, if we see something that's on the MLS for $300,000 and we can get it for $220, and it is really worth $380 as it sits,
or $480.
It's really hard to if all the photos are on the MLS, to buy it low and then just say, hey, I'm just going to sweep it out, throw it back on the market at $380 because it just sold, and now every appraiser and everyone will know what was the situation of my house before. So understand, because they could see the condition and you only put $2,000 into it. So that can be a problem. In that case, you might have to go ahead and rehab it more, but then if you can't pay too much because maybe the spread's not enough, versus buying it from a seller for $220. They wanted $3, got it to $220, and throw it up for $380, you only swept it out. That's easy because no one knows what it looked like inside. You follow? Does that make sense? Yeah. Understand? So we were cognizant of that. Oh, it's $400,000 and we're going to get it for $280. Great. We need to put a little bit of money into this, or at least take care of all the termite work and septic and whatever it is.
Or the cat smell.
Yeah. A couple deals with those right now. But let's get going. So why fix and flip this? Why did I do this deal? This is one we're active on. It's about to hit the market in about 2 weeks. I walked again today. That was a before and after. The people here, to give you an idea, I moved them out of this house. They had no job, no income. They were a family member. The family sold the house to get rid of the family member. Seriously. And I moved them into a rental. And because for legal reasons, I moved them out and had them sign a lease. Said, well, if you can get a job and you can do this, I'll rent you, because I wanted them out of this because we're going to make some good money. Put them in a rental. I just paid her $2,000 to leave as of today. I met with her. It was very heartbreaking. I gave her 4 months. Our flipping company is paying our rental company some money for the loss of it, because I have different partners. Because my rental company took the hit on the rental. So we're trying to do that, and we're making this all work. But why did I flip this and then wanted to keep the other one as a rental? Well, this is why. Okay, it was a $115,000 purchase price. This was just bought a couple months ago, with closing costs. Paid $110,000. It's a $60,000 rehab, and we're going to come right about $58,000, 59. We're right there with $15,000 holding costs. That includes tenant relocation. So I'm all in for $180,000. All right, borrow, purchase, and rehab. I only am out $15,000 out of pocket because I borrowed the rehab money from another member. I borrowed the purchase price other than a little bit. So I'm in $15,000, and we're going to make about $50K, anywhere from 45 to 55.
What's your rate of return on that? 15,000 invested, 50,000 made.
And my wife's going to get a commission on it because she's going to list this one.
Why did you sell a nice house like that?
Because I bought a duplex on the same street with better returns. At the same time, buy one, sell one. So that's why I did it. Now I didn't have to come out and write a check for $200,000. Notice this: if I had to put wrote a check for $180,000 to get 50, see how the return's different? So since I'm only putting $15,000, I have more money to put into another house that we put a lot of money into. So this is the reason why there, okay? Understand that, all right? This is latest long-term rental. I just paid $158. That includes purchase. And here's the thing. It didn't work for me this time, but working with the seller, matter of fact, both these houses on the same street, and the people I moved out today, I also had to evict her other son in this house. I paid him money to leave. He moved into a trailer and towed it in the desert. Seriously. But the idea is, I paid $158 for this. I'd offered $150, and I had said, when they wanted a little bit more, tell you what, I'll pay up to $5,000 if there's any liens. And there were liens, $5,000, so I really sucked. I thought I was gonna, it sounded good. So remember, I'll pay up to $5,000 or $10,000 more liens, make sure there's no liens.
Open
It
mouth,
sounds
insert
good.
foot.
Yeah. So, but again, price, closing cost, relocation money was $158. Yes?
How big were the units?
They're 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square feet each. They'll rent for $1,800
Money,
each.
money.
I have one just down the street. I rent for $1,800. So $75,000 rehab, unless I spend another $100,000 in pet smell remediation. But the rents are $1,800, $3,600 total rents, and PITI I checked is about going to be just under $2,000. But I again borrowed the entire purchase price from another financial friend, and I actually put a second with the same guy to cover the entire $75,000 rehab. Yes, Andy?
Hey, Amazon just shipped me a commercial ozone machine for under $100 into California.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they stopped doing that.
Yeah, me too. You might want to buy a couple while you can.
Yeah. I thought we used to have one, but I have to ask Rich. No. Well, this is all cinder. This is easy on this. But I was in it today. It's
You got
mostly
that covered,
gone.
man.
Yeah,
You
I
got
got that
it
covered. A lot of experience with that lately. Just don't ask Patrick or I about it right now. We're both going to cry. But
A little sensitive.
yeah, a little sensitive. But anyway, here's why. There's two things going on, and here's why. Again, both of these, very little money in a pocket, because my money's tied up elsewhere, etc. But we're doing that, and this will rent out. So that's why I kept one as long-term rental. By the way, fix up. This is $325,000 easy, maybe $340, somewhere in there. But it was just really bad, and it came with a boat, and I'm giving. But going back to this long-term rental, again, without going through all the numbers, I could have bought. This is that wholesale one earlier that my friend Manuel walked out and says, I stand down. But I could have wholesaled it. It did come with a long-term tenant. Was only paying $450 a month. Been there 17 years. He's now been there 23 years, 22 years. He's in his 80s. Still sends me updates and photos of what he's doing. He's a painter. But the point is we could have wholesaled that. I could have fixed and flipped it, and he only pays $500 and some odd dollars because the new rental law. I can only raise rent incrementally because of rent control now. Huh? $565 for 1 bedroom. That if you moved out, I'd rent for $1,500 with a garage. And so he's a great guy. He takes care of it, really everything. It's only like if the roof goes. He just says, hey, rent the checks in the mail. That's what he does every month. Anyway, so we actually do well with that. Property's worth a lot, but we kept it. But see, this is where it said we could have fixed and flipped it. So I could have sold it at the time for $125,000 back then, net $36,000 or net $18,000 every year. Because I knew rents are going to go up. Right now, if I rented that place, it'd be like $3,200 between both units. So understand, a friend of mine called me about a 4-unit that I wholesaled to them about 6 years ago, that they're having trouble with their management company and there's an eviction going on, and she said, you want to buy it? And I said, yeah, I'll talk to you about it. But today I said, honestly, Patty called. I said, Patty, don't sell. You will kick yourself. Because I'll never let you live it down because I regret selling that for you in Colton, okay? And she goes, well, okay, still make me an offer. So I'm going to make an offer. But anyone wants a 4-unit, a little 1-bedroom in Colton, let me know, because I'm only going to pay so much. And she has a lot next to it that she owns that she could build another 3 units.
So are any of you FHA approved? Okay, so this is a great opportunity to buy a 4-unit building. You got a cooperative seller. It's a great plan.
They're in the middle of an eviction. That's why they're like, oh, maybe we just want to get tired of it. And if they sell and they make a couple $100,000, they think they win. I think they'll lose, but you get the idea. So understand that. This goes back to the why wholesale. You can look at some of the numbers here. I don't go into all of it, but we made like, I don't know, 20 grand between us. A buddy of mine, it really knocks on doors. He found the guy living in a car on his property because the house burned down. But we're going to talk real quick about Jim's Riverside deal. If you want to, I don't know if
I can barely read all that stuff, guys. So I will say
do you
this.
remember this property?
Yeah, this house was sold.
The fire damage.
This was a fire damage wholesale deal. I was gonna move into this home. The seller kept on charging me more and more and more and more, and I was stealing it. We started at $375. We ended at $440. I bought it and I did nothing to it, and we sold it for I think it was $520, $515, $525. I don't remember the number. It was something nice. We put like $56,000. Now this was a year and a half ago. This deal happened, and the person that purchased the home from me, the city gave him a super hard time on this deal, but they've since finished it. It's on Victoria between Tyler and Harrison. If you know where this is, this is I would call this like a real prime time. There's a house.
You wholesaled this.
I wholesaled the home.
Okay.
Okay, and I did that.
What'd you make again?
$56,000.
$56,000 versus right away versus waiting.
Versus waiting, and the guy just finished the house, so it's been a year and a half, and this actually was the first deal I did coming back from a major, like I was in the hospital for a long time. I lost usage of my hand. I mean, it was an easy deal for me to figure out to wholesale because I really wanted a quick little fix of money. I wanted to prove to myself I could do this again, and we pulled it off. And if I'm being honest, I made the right decision because the guy took over a year for him to complete the whole thing.
What could he make now if he sold it?
Well, that house is worth $1.2 million.
So he could have made.
So I could have made big money. I could have made $300,000-$400,000 doing this transaction. But
well, let me ask you.
I've done 6 or 7 transactions since then, made way over $1 million doing with the same money because I paid cash for the property when I bought it.
Well, let's ask everyone. How many because everyone's in a different place. How many would take the $56,000 today because where they're at in life? And how many would like to go ahead and fix and flip or do the other? There's no wrong answer and make your $300,000. Okay, a couple, yeah.
Where's the right answer?
Or Andy?
Who's going to keep a nice rental house like that? Cash flow for your grandchildren.
There you go, and that house.
And who'd want to do that?
And that property probably rents for about $5,000 a month, maybe $6,000. The property would rent, and the guys, I just don't think there's a wrong answer because for me it was exactly what I needed to take a running jump to the trampoline to get to the next level. Okay, and that's how I used this deal, and it was the right thing for me to do. So,
How many here wholesale or fix and flip? Raise your hands. I want to see. How many wholesale fix and flip? How many own rentals? Okay. I was talking, those of you, who was here at John's shop? Who was sitting around in the back listening to Mike Ken too at the end of the day, right? On some of it. He was sharing, I talked to him a couple hours ago. He was sharing some golden nuggets there at the end of the day about stuff. And he made a comment. He started competing with himself. And if you have enough rentals, this can get fun. But he started competing to see if he'd make more money from his rentals or from his wholesale and fix and flipping because he has a lot of rentals, right? So he was competing with himself to see which side of his business would outperform the other. And I was like, he made a friendly competition with himself on it to see what he could do.
So he had to make $400,000 a month on a fix and flip to keep up with his rentals. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Anyone, there's something, I refer to it, some of us, even though he didn't invent it, but I heard it from Mike, the Mike Can 2 method as far as buying toys. Anyone ever heard it? Right, you have. Who's heard it? Okay. Does anyone want to hear it?
Yeah. That's good.
It comes. You've heard it from Kiyosaki. You've heard it from them, but I heard it from Mike like 15 years ago when I owned like one property, and I was like, oh, okay, let me figure this out. And he's up there talking about it. He had said that if he wanted to go on vacation, he didn't go on vacation. He'd go buy a house that would pay for all of his future vacations. So he had a house that was a vacation house. He had a house that's like the insurance house, cover all of his insurances. Oh, if he needed two, he needed two. He had like a horse house, I think, for his daughter, someone that wanted horses. And so he would go ahead and put money into that so that he could keep doing that forever. And that way he'd still have the asset after the toy or the vacation was long since gone. So so a lot of people call it my Cantu method. I know I do, but really it came from some of the investors, like John Schaub at the other when you get into it. But that's something that I've taken to heart and said, oh, don't go spend your money and go buy your toy. Go buy an asset that pays for the toy, and if 5 years the toy is paid for, and you still have the asset. It's now worth 4 times as much.
Don't you have a motorhome house?
Like so some things we buy, it's, well, let's go buy this, or we bought it knowing that now we get to go buy a toy. That way, you're never really paying for it. Your tenants are. Who likes that idea? Yeah, so do I. All right, so understand that. Keep that delayed gratification part. So I had to ask that real quick on that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to, so this was your numbers on the house, I think. 54th,
Yeah.
You lied. You made 54,000. Just so you know, Jim and I did this. He said this like a year and a half ago, and I told him tonight, hey, by the way, you're going to cover this tonight.
Did I say 56?
Yeah, you did. Oh, jeez. All right. Who cannot recover for a $2,000 loss like that? No. I just had to. But there's just breakdowns of what he spent. If anyone sees that, that's what he spent on the way that deal went down.
The biggest thing for me to be able to show you guys is, I wouldn't say I was like questioning like, hey, am I ever going to do another deal again? But I was hurting. I mean, I was really in a bad way, and I didn't. I guess if I'm being honest, I questioned. Can I even do this? Can I come back from this? Okay, and this was a great deal for me because it enabled me to see like, oh, I got this. Like I got this 100%. And that was the reason. That was the reason why we hosted. Why
you just weren't ready to do the big fix and flip because
you
were dealing with a life threat.
And in reality, I probably would have been able to probably do that deal and do the other deals I've done, but I don't have a big there's not a lot of pain and strain in my life, and it's not like I used to operate where I had hundreds of thousands of dollars a week in payroll and all of these people and I like my life now. It's not like that. Okay, so anyway.
So this is kind of what we was talking about. The $54,000 was a 12% return for 16 days. So look at it as a 272% annualized return versus a 22% return for a 270-day flip, 30% annually.
Which, by the way, that wouldn't have worked because it took them longer than 270 days. But what I like about this calculation, and I love the annualized return. It's a big number. It makes me excited. Okay, but what I like about this is the numbers don't lie. That's right. Really what I like about it, and it enables you to say, because I hear Andy all the time say, no, keep it, and he's right. He's right. Okay.
Yes.
But
he is.
What I'm saying is, you understanding how to derive that figure, how to come up with it, how to understand it, how to know where your money is being utilized.
And if you don't know a lot of this, feel free to give us a call because there's a lot of people saying I'm not really sure. And remember, in the beginning, you really are going to be. I always say the gatekeeper. It's a funnel. You want to be able to. You want to be the source that everyone that you know calls you. You want to have your feelers out there. You want your family and friends to know. Whatever marketing you're doing right now, by the way, it's picking up the phone or knocking on the damn door. Those are the best ways right now. And I understand that you want that going. Period. End of story. You want that so you can be making offers, and that comes down to get off your hiney. Yeah.
I was just saying, and it takes time because I've been doing this for 5 years, and now people are calling me.
Right. Yeah. Again, like you said earlier. Are you still interested in this thing? And you're like, yeah, I'm still in. So all that work that if you had stopped and they call and they get a wrong number, okay, they call someone else. So understand that. And one thing else is that You're going to hear a couple diehards. Pete Fortunato will do this. Andy will do this. Mick Blackwell, who passed away a few years ago, one of my mentors as well. He literally would just beat the snot out of me for having for wholesaling. I'd be excited. Oh, yeah, wholesale, make 25 grand. He looked at me just going like, I can't believe you could afford to lose that much money. What? Pull out the financial calculator, enter this number. You just lost $392,000. What? And he was right, but I need to be fed today too. I got a partner. So you got to weigh that what's best for you too.
You realize, Jim, that 22 months of rent at $5,000 netting 50%, you got your $55,000.
Yeah.
I do realize.
But he'd have payment too. So yeah.
I realize it, and all I know. I realize
it's okay. It's okay. It comes down to a lot of things. If that comes down to where's your financing, are you sitting on $600,000 or whatever the number was, where you could buy it, do it, and then you have no payment, and so the $5,000 a month, most of it just goes to your bottom line, versus you having a loan that you're paying out, your expenses are $4,500, and you're doing the $5,000, you're only making $500. There's a huge difference. So even though it looks the same, it can be totally different. That's why if Derek buys it, and it might be something that doesn't work for him because it was a lending, and Missy over there has all the cash. She could buy the same thing, do it, and it works great for her. Understand that. So you gotta understand when you're talking to people, who's doing the talking and where are they at, so you get an idea. Because if not, you'll get a different conclusion from what you're listening to. Oh, that must be a good rental. Well, not if you're spending $4,500 a month. Understand? Right? Does it make sense? Yes.
Doesn't it also matter what kind of return you're going to get on your next investment with that capital you just got back?
Yes. Yes. It now comes down to the cost of opportunity, lost opportunity, cost of opportunity. If you do this deal and you're going to make some money, and you get into it, you decide to flip it, and it's going to take a year and a half, and he's funding it, and all that money could have done the other 10 deals. He could do one deal, then lose more money by doing the deal.
I took
all
the cash from this transaction and I gave it to another guy. I learned an entire new way to do business, and I'm going to make millions and millions of dollars from that money. And I've already done pretty close to that already with that money, and I can't. It's hard for me to stand up here and have Andy, say, oh, don't you see, you could have done this? Yeah, I do, and it hurts. It hurts for sure, okay? But I know me, and I know what I like to do, and frankly, this works out perfect for me.
Right. And it works for you, and it works for you. Yes, sir.
Andy, why would you sell such a nice mobile home like that to me?
Because I got 5 in the hopper right now.
So it's okay sometimes to sell.
No, it is.
No, hey, here's one of the things though you got to understand with it is this really comes down to it is several years ago we had sold most of our rentals like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. We sold a lot of our rentals and they were in rough neighborhoods at the time, and that was for both of us. Put us in a position to walk away from our jobs, so it was totally worth it. But then because Mick kept beating me over the head every time I went to that Tuesday lunch, and kept on, and Andy was still doing it too, and then started hearing Pete. The idea was like, we better start. So we kept buying, we started buying and keeping a few, and kept more and more and more. So then it did. I didn't listen 100%, but I listened 82.5%, which was kind of good enough. But I was able to thank Mick before he passed away and said that you really helped my family, because when COVID started, I told Ange, I think we're going to be okay. And that was the time that the company we used to work for went out of business after 39 and a half years. It couldn't survive COVID because Disneyland shut down. So I'm telling you, there's a cost of not doing this, okay? We'd have been getting new jobs 4 years ago in our 50s. No way. No, that's not good. So anyway, understand that, and understand one of the reasons why not to do a deal. A friend of mine who's an investor, now he does a lot of tiny homes. He was talking some years ago, he said, and as I was working on wholesale deals, he'd say, hey, Evan, if I can't make 100 grand, don't call me. So I finally find a deal in Corona. He can make 125 grand. I call him up, Ollie. Hey, Ollie, I got this deal. And he goes, Evan, my number is now $200,000. Really? So I worked a little bit. I found one I thought he could make 200 grand. I called him. He goes, Evan, my number is like 300. I go, what's the story? He goes, I'm having too much fun, making too much money over here to be bothered to make that. And I went,
Yeah, but if you think about it, so he has other people that he works with, and they have a minimum. And all of these people have a minimum,
Right.
and I'm not trying to say, oh, you got to come up with this minimum in your life,
Right.
Because I've been there. Listen,
you'll develop that
yeah.
minimum later.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You know, it's okay. I'm just saying that you can't be thinking, oh, these guys are crazy. What do you mean they said no to a deal where they could make $100,000?
It's in relation to the total
There you go.
amount involved in
There you
the
go.
risk. Understand? Okay. All right. Again, hey, anyone, we could do a deal. You're going to give me $5, and here's this property we're going to do, and by the time you're done, you're going to make $1,000 on your $5. Who would do that?
Yep.
We all would, right? It's again to make $1,000. Great. You got to lend me $100,000, and in 2 months I'll give you back $1,000 on a promissory. You know, who would do that deal? See what I mean? It's the same amount of money, the return, the dollar amount, the profit, but not percentage. Keep that in mind. All right, this is one of the wholesale deals I talked about. Why did we keep? That was a seller carry at 4%, $599 a month, and that was a few years ago. By the way, that thing's doubled in value. And after speaking with Pete Fortunato last year, when I was talking to him, we were driving to the airport, told him about something. He goes, "You want to know what I would do?" I was like, "Yeah," and he suggested that. And we were talking about some of the stuff in it. So we now, for all of our costs are about $1,000 with taxes and everything. We now, Richard master leases that, pays us $1,000, which covers us, so I just don't have to worry about it. So which freed up $1,000 of our money. And then he went ahead and he rented it in Crestline for $2,000 a month, and he covers the first couple $100 of expenses. So now I have $1,000 freed up that I still own the house. It's taken care of. It's doubled in value. Then I was able to go out and buy my van conversion just recently, because guess what? We have $1,000 freed up. See that? Anyway, so yeah.
And this is the goal. This should be the goal of all of us, because I know that this is a big part of my future. Will be just that, is supplying housing to charities all over hopefully all over the country. You know, but this is the tax code favors you for doing deals like this. It's a very
tax,
good
yeah.
It's a very good way to do business, and
you'll get into that more. Jim's doing some really cool stuff that he's still developing. We'll be in touch with some of you, and then there's some other stuff. He's going to do a full thing on it. We touched on it a couple months ago, but we will be doing that. You're going to be up on this real quick. When you have a flip, when you add square footage, when you build a new home, yes.
What are you saying that tax code is good for?
So I'm saying that I know for certain charities, okay, which this is kind of the direction I'm going in. For certain charities, there is large tax advantages to produce and maintain low and moderate housing, especially in the state of California. I don't know if any of you are aware of in LA, they just spent $638,000 a unit for a 280 unit complex. It's a $40 million or I think $80 million, whatever that math is. I'm just saying when you actually see that deal on the back end of it, it's crazy the money these people are
basically
making.
The government. There's a lot of ways with a niche of dealing with the homeless in that sense. And with charities, there's a lot of options. This also goes into micro housing. I was just watching people that live in 90 square foot units paying $600 a month, like in New York City. That's coming here. That's the house hacking. That's the other, because that's going to be the solution for a lot of people. They just need a room, bug-free, rodent-free, a room, a kitchen, and somewhere to use the restroom. And you're going to see that a lot. And for all sorts of reasons, we don't get into why it's happening. But there's one is the hedge funds buying 80,000 houses and then keeping them. So real quick, and Jim will go, we will be doing something on that, Jim will, in the future. If you have questions, ask him. I got to keep this moving. When you have a flip, when do you add square footage, when to build a new home? I have never built a new home. I've added square footage. I've done some things, but Jim really has done this. So in this case, this is that cool house in Riverside.
That was a really nice house over on Larchwood Street in the Wood Streets. It was actually a carriage house. I'm sorry, guys. I'm brain dead. I don't have pictures of everything. I should, of course. But it was literally a garage, and we added
like the 20s. Yeah, or something?
Exactly. We tripled the size of this property, and we made good money on it. This was a real hassle though, because it was the The historical society had to approve everything, but it was a beautiful, beautiful home that we ended up putting
Did
together.
anyone see that house? I did. I
Yeah.
actually managed to see
Yeah.
it. You went and saw
It
it,
was
too.
nice.
Yeah.
It turned out real nice, and I worked my butt off on it. And unfortunately, you know, we didn't make a whole, you know, I think we made like $50,000-$60,000 after the whole thing was said and done.
It was a beautiful,
It was
small,
beautiful.
quaint house,
Yeah,
right?
I felt great. It was more of a passion project. And I guess I'm a little embarrassed talking like
So
that.
why
but-
did you add square footage? Was it just too small and there was just nothing to work with, or you just couldn't get the return by what you paid for it?
Well, this was early in the cycle. This would have been maybe 2016 when I purchased the carriage house for $161,000, and another real estate group had tried to do this transaction, and they couldn't pull it off. So we paid $161 for the property. We spent $180,000. We were all in on cash on this. We didn't have any loans. We sold it for it was like $420 or something like that. You know, I mean, it wasn't quite 100 that we made, but
But this was one deal of many you were
oh yeah,
doing.
this was when I was doing 25, 30 at a time.
So again,
yeah.
25 or 30, understand, just keep this in mind if you're going, hey, I'm trying to do my first one. Farrah and I have talked about this when she, you know, work on just doing 1 or 2, and then later you're doing 8 and 9, and then we're talking, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't buy another one right now. Maybe you need to, sometimes you gotta learn to say no, or give me another 2 weeks, or can I get back to you? So anyway, there's that real quick. So you decided to buy this and had to triple it. I don't know if at the time I would at that 2016, different time for me, I would have wholesaled the house. I don't think I could have come up.
And I would have bought it from you.
Yeah,
I would have bought it from you and done the deal there. And so this was a ground up build that we.
This is a New Western deal?
Yeah. No, I bought the front house. I think you can actually see in the bottom right hand corner. You see the house that you're looking at? That's actually the house we purchased for $350. Yes, sir. So we bought the property for $350, and there was a lot in the back.
It was a hidden lot, right?
Yeah, it was a flag lot. You know, everyone understand it was just a driveway with a lot back there. So we fixed the front house and we overdid it. We made it look really pretty because we knew we wanted to build a house back here. Again, not a lot of thought put into it. It was more a passion, and I mean, I figured out the numbers, but it was like, hey, I want to do this. And I had this idea of, I was spending a lot of time going up to Los Angeles. I saw these beautiful modern homes, and I wanted to build a nice modern home in Riverside.
And would this deal have worked if you bought it and didn't develop that land?
No. If I figured the day we bought the front house for $320 and sold it, and I literally broke even on the deal on the front
let me
house.
ask you, I'm trying to direct it on something. So if someone was looking at this like I did, just looking on the screen, and it was a New Western deal, and you went there and there was like a bunch of guys there, a bunch of buyers, if you just looked at it and said, oh, 320, buy it, fix it, do whatever, not realizing the second lot, it was a tight deal.
It wasn't a deal.
But you knew, and some of them knew, that there was an extra lot.
Yeah, but what's funny about this is we drew cards for this property.
Yeah, explain what the
I
purchase
was,
on it.
and so a lot of you are like, oh, old New Western, I can't do business with them. What I figured out is how to be of service to them. This is a great tip for all of you folks.
This was a good one.
I figured out that I would just give them a number on everything. If they said it was $700,000, like I bought 3 houses in Redlands. They wanted $750,000 for all 3 of the houses. I ended up paying $610
Because you just gave them an offer.
because no one could do the deal. No one could put the deal together, and then they were going to lose the contract. And I was a good client. They knew I could close, so I bought 3 houses for $610,000 right across the street from the student center.
So again, every time you see something from a wholesaler, understand that if you see it 400, oh, that doesn't work. But if 320 works, send them, hey, I'm in at 320 in case it doesn't.
And in today's world, in the market we're in right now, where everyone's so hungry for a home, they might laugh at you. But they laugh at me a lot. So I would take that as a.
Well, what did I say earlier about one of the members saw something on the market for 95, even though it's a mobile home, got it for 40. It was on the market on MLS, so got it for 40 instead of 95. Just made 40 grand, 50 grand.
So the guy who won the card draw on this property, I was number 2. The number 1 guy, he saw that it was a development deal, because that's really what this is. This is not a flip. This is a development deal.
If you just bought the house to fix up and flip, you'd lose money.
You'd lose money, okay? So I just was smart enough, I guess you'd say, to overdo the front house. We broke even on it. It was a very nice home. But this property took a year to develop, and then COVID hit, and I won the lottery.
It made some waterline mistakes, if I
Oh
remember.
yeah.
But that helped.
Everything, like, God was shining on us, because the plan package that I purchased didn't include the civil engineering for the water connection. And
so you missed.
So I
in
missed
layman's term, they forgot to put in a water main into the house.
Exactly. So we are framed and we're looking good, and all of a sudden I realize, holy crap, we don't have water. And you'd think you could just go down to the city, right? And go, hey, I need a water line. No. It was a pride-swallowing, grueling mess. And then COVID hit, and then the whole thing shut down.
So how many people would be pretty upset about making a mistake like that, right? But listen how it turned out, right? It's okay. You got to go with the flow. You adapt, right? It's like boxing. Some of those go this way, go that way, go. There is no obstacle that's just insurmountable in that.
So I had zero cost in the lot. I had $95,000 cost in offsites, like all the fees and everything like that. We had a contract to build the house for $400,000, and I might be conflating numbers.
Was this the $40,000 septic?
Oh yeah. The lot wouldn't perk. The lot wouldn't perk. Does everyone know what that means? No. You could not put a septic tank in it, because septic tanks slowly emit cleaned out. There's no waste in the water. It's just dirty, and it puts it into the stream, into the ground, and the ground percolates.
To absorb.
It absorbs the water and percolates and goes into the water table, and all the bio stays in the dirt, if this makes sense to you.
Except
this one lot in that whole area is a hillside that was clipped off the top, and as they went down further, it was all clay.
So no
clay
absorption.
does not perk. So if you go to this property, there's a beautiful above ground septic
system. You raise it like 4 feet, 5 feet, the whole backyard.
Yeah. 36 there. I don't remember the number. I just remember.
So the extra delay of COVID and the year of dealing with the water main that was missed, the end result was the market was doing what? Going up or down at the time? Up. So what happened?
I thought I was going to sell it for $775 and make $200,000. Instead, we sold it for $1.2 million and got a big, massive payday.
And I want to make those mistakes.
Yeah. And the reality is, like, during this time, I can tell you deals I lost big money on too. So I'm just saying to you guys, it all evens out. It all evens out.
And keep that in mind. And I love that deal. That's why we were talking about it. It's not too far from my house. This one we kept long-term rental was a sub-2 deal. Put a tenant in, and they're still there. We bought this several years ago, and we rented. Our payment's like $2,258, and we cleared $3,600 because there's a 2-unit on that one. Again, this is long-term rental. I bought again. It was something I actually paid like full retail for this. And it was, and there were like 8 buyers there. The seller was a driving for dollars thing, but he finally was doing a FSBO. And I went over there, saw that I had a lot of other people that were like, I got to bring my dad back to look at this. I got to read the crowd. And he was talking to the seller, who the parents put that in new in 1970. Luckily, this guy was also a motorcycle rider, so we were bonding over that. And I was just saying, look, I really like it. I knew the neighborhood well in Lake Elsinore. I know the value was going up. I said, look, I'll give you the 120. I showed him Zillow. I'll give you the 121 because I knew I'd rent it for $1,800. I think now it's like $1,950 or something. We rent that for, and so we do pretty well on that, and still own it, long-term rental. So again, you got to understand that you're going to make more and more and more if you buy. And so even if you overpay accidentally, or it's something that you like, I can still add another unit on that property if I wanted to, or if not, I just knew the rent's going to keep going up in that area. And so understand there's sometimes you might want to buy a property that might not cash flow much, but know what's coming, or know that where your rents are. Are rents slowing down, or are they starting to speed up? Rents were still speeding up then, and I knew I could get it, and I had a line of people that wanted to rent that place. So the short list, really when it comes down to this, as we end here, is what are your goals? Is it rentals or cash flow? You want large freaking checks, or do you want to keep enough in? Did you keep enough houses? One of the things with this is that, well, I was telling you earlier the story about Janine and I working the same deal, and a lot of you know the story. I was working on this. There was this Hemet duplex that a wholesaler called me on, and I said, yes, I'm in, like 165, I forget the number, 265, I don't remember. And I said, yes, and I want it. I'll buy it absolutely for your price. He goes, okay, well, a minute. Calls me back. I just got like 170, $5,000 more. I'm like, okay, I'll match that. And then he goes, okay, 1 minute. And it kept going up, kept going up, kept going up. And finally, I was getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want this anymore. I was pretty busy, and I'm doing it, kept bidding it up. And finally, I'm looking at this, and then he sends a text to me about something about just thinking he's locking this deal up. And I'm like,
It's my deal.
so I messaged the wholesaler and go, his initials JK? He goes like, yeah. I said, okay, I'm out. But by that time, we had already bid it up like $15,000 on it. But I called him, and he goes, I'm going to keep this one as a rental. I was like, good, that's what I would do. And then what'd you do with it?
I put 3 pieces of glass that were broken. I shampooed the carpet and made $87,000 in a matter of a couple of days.
Shame on you.
Shame on me, exactly.
Yeah, could have kept it. What would that be worth now?
A lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. That was a great deal too, because no one knew the value, because no one ever sells these are duplexes in that little area, and no one ever sells. And at the point,
And that's in the neighborhood you're researching right now for us.
yeah, and in that area there, I knew that place was worth $450, and
Yeah.
because of that, we just
I
the
might have
whole
just-
deal went well because
Yeah,
of it.
I might have just given him $80,000 up front and said, just step aside, and I'd have bought it and kept it.
I would have taken it.
We
I would
just
have
didn't think
taken
about
it. I would have taken
All
it.
right, so understand that, again, sometimes you just step back, and then I decide what we worked for Jim, and even though I'm picking on him about it, it worked for him to do that deal and make his money and move on. Same thing here. It's just, everyone's different, so don't let us beat you up too much when we're like, well, why'd you sell that house? Understand that. One thing Andy has said, it's only a loss, because I've done this, when I get frustrated on a deal where I did a lease option and it didn't work out, and I just said, screw it, I want to sell it. I sold a house with a $15,000 loss because I was doing a lease option with a family member, and it just blew up in my face. And I was so mad, and I didn't understand. I didn't have enough tools at the time, this was many years ago, that I could have just sat on. I could have just called my lender, who I did a lot of business with, and said, can I have another year on this? He would have said yes. Can I do this? He would have, not a problem. I could have refinanced out. That house has doubled in value, but I took a $15,000 loss because I was kind of ticked off at a family member of mine. And I would, just because that and a bunch of stuff going on. And I'm like, and he goes, it wasn't a loss until you sold it. And I'm like, so anyway, so remember, a short list is how busy are we? What kind of crews do you have? Do you have anybody in that area? The location of it, the price, the terms, how much cash do you have? How much does my private money lenders have? Understand all those things, okay? Go ahead.
I want to add something to this.
Go ahead.
So I loved what he just was saying about a family member and, I know me, the real answer to, hey, why do I sell? Because this is what I could handle. And I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna own more properties. My business will change. I'll evolve, okay? But I'm a super emotional guy, unless none of you can figure that one out. I know he is too. I know he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's out there working his tail off. And this particular little thing that we do very well, that we're really great at, it lends itself to me being able to go all in, pull my money back, and go all in over here. And it's like a drug, okay? It really is. It feels really good. I guess if you don't find success in it, people would go, oh, you're an idiot. Like, what did you do all this for? But this is something that I've been able to make a very good living on, and I've figured out how to operate my business. I do it properly. I know that what I do is good work, And yes, could I maybe have owned 85 houses and been worth $25 million? Yeah, maybe I could have been.
But
I don't know.
understand this, Jim's partner at the time, for many years of that, was someone that wanted cash, who put up all the money. So fixing and flipping worked because he got his money back right away. So in that case, that was the exact strategy to do it. So again, totally different, all these things. Why is he doing that versus someone else? Because it was the structure of his business at the time. They just split everything 50. Who would like a guy that has $3 million? They're going to give you all the money you need, and you're going to do the work, and you're going to split all profits 50-50. Who wants that deal?
I want that deal.
So would you then go, you made a couple $1 million or a bunch of $1 million, and then it turns out that, well, you didn't keep so many? Understand? It wasn't harm. So just get that. All this matters as well. Why that guy has a lot of rentals, and this one's doing a lot of flips or wholesale deals, and this one's doing a few, because it's what we can handle at any given time, or what it works for us at the time. I was driving Mark Pantek somewhere, if you know Mark, and I was telling a story about Pete. I said something to Pete with it. Oh yeah, I like doing this, and he goes, I like to do that. He goes, because a confused mind says no if I get multiple offers, and I'm like, well, I built my business on multiple offers. So I was telling Mark about it. I was like, I was weighing that to should I change? And he goes, hey, it works for Pete and that works for you. Why change? Just take it, learn, play around with it, but understand. So don't beat yourself up too much. Okay? First of all, any questions?
Unrelated, but is there a notary stamp in the room tonight?
Is there?
Is Miguel still here, or did he leave?
No, he left. He came, but the exchangers left.
No, he was here.
He was
Oh,
here.
he was here.
He was here.
He left before I got here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he left quickly.
Well, he lives close. Call
Well, he'll find a notary.
All right.
Farrah's not in that big a rush, but I thought somebody might have one tonight.
him. Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We good? All right, everyone. Well, look. Again, that's my contact info. If you all have any questions or anything else you will think about tomorrow, you want to reach out, you have something you don't know if it's a deal, please give me a call. Understand that if I don't get back to you right, just message me again or call me again. You're not going to hurt my feelings because we're pretty freaking busy, and it's okay, but you're not bugging me. Just message me again, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay? Jim, how do people reach you?
I can be reached at 951-880-8646. That's 951-880-8646. I respond well to text, and I'm working a lot lately, so be patient with me. I really do. I would love to be involved in really anything any of you have. It's 951-880-8646. I have trusted investment opportunities for any of you. I have auction, I'm trying to put together like a $3 or $4 million fund, because I've identified properties that are selling for $3 and $4 and $5 million at the trustee sale that are worth $20 million. So these are deals I haven't been able to take down yet, but please
talk to Jim.
Help me out.
I'm gonna leave with something. Recently, I was working on some things. I came across 22-year-old, 23-year-old that's making 7 figures a year. Made his first $1 million at 18, 17, buying and fixing wholesaling houses. And he was like, no one told me I couldn't. I said, wow. So understand, we limit ourselves many times. So here was something that, again, it's not about age, it's not about that, just sometimes someone didn't tell you couldn't. So again, where would you be if you knew you couldn't fail? So keep that in mind. All right, and I think that's it.
That's it, sir.
Okay. All right. All right.